Digital products versus physical products. What's the difference between the two? And more importantly, which one should you start first when you're starting your side hustle for your digital business? In today's video, I'm going to share with you 26 key differences between physical products and digital products. And more importantly, I'll tell you which one you should start with as a side hustle. Number one, production cost. It typically will cost you less to produce and to create a digital good versus a physical good. Let's use this video as an example. It doesn't matter how many people view this video, my production cost to produce it and post it on YouTube is going to stay the exact same, whether I get 1 view or whether I get 10,000 views on this video. With physical products, however, the production cost will vary based on the quantity you're actually producing. If I take this mouse, for example, the number of units that I produce is going to impact the cost, and that is something physical that I can touch when I'm using my laptop computer. So a physical good is something that has higher production cost typically than a digital good. The second difference is a quite obvious one, is tangible versus intangible. Digital goods have a tendency of being quite intangible. It's something that you download on your computer and that you consume electronically, but you can't physically manipulate them or physically touch them. And so with my mouse example, I can choose the color, the look and feel of the mouse, and so on and so forth. I can hear its click, and that has an impact on how I consume and how I perceive the product. One is tangible and the other one is intangible. The third difference is storage and inventory. For digital products, as you can imagine, there is no storage or inventory that is required. When I produce an ebook or a piece of music, for example, or even this YouTube video you're watching is housed in the cloud, and whenever somebody wants to watch it, they simply use the internet access that they're already paying for in order to consume the material. As the producer of this video, I don't incur any new cost because you're consuming it. If it's a physical product, however, you have to take storage and inventory into consideration. When my wife and I bought a mattress a couple of weeks ago, we paid for the mattress in advance from a Canadian company, and then it took about a week or two for the mattress to arrive at our door. During that time, the mattress was stored in a warehouse, it was sent on a truck, and then it was delivered to my home. All of these 3 steps incur cost for the supplier or for the manufacturer producing that mattress. Now, the fourth one is connected to the third one, which is distribution and delivery. You see, whenever you're producing a physical good, you have to think of the logistics required in order to package and ship that good from one place to another, from one location to another. There are certain items that I can't get here in Canada, and sometimes what I do is I purchase them from the US and I have them shipped close to the border where I drive in order to pick it up. You can see that from a physical standpoint, there are some barriers for me to consume the product in some instances, and I have to overcome these challenges. However, with digital goods, all of these barriers completely disappear when it comes to distribution and delivery. And a click of a button, I can download the application, the software, or the item that I want to consume, and I have immediate access to it. By the way, if you'd like a free checklist on how you can launch your first digital product in 7 days, click on the link below in the description and you have access to it. It's completely free and it's a great guide for you to go faster and launching your first digital product as quickly as possible. Next, there's scalability, and this is a big difference here between digital products and physical products. When you're dealing with digital products, they're scalable very, very quickly. Scalable simply means here that you're able to sell millions and thousands of this product to a wide audience without increasing your cost. You don't have that scalability with physical products. With physical products, you're always limited by your manufacturing capacity. This is one of the reasons a lot of manufacturers go to places like China, where they can reduce their cost of manufacturing and increase the number of items that they actually produce in order to meet the needs of their target population. At number 6, we have pricing models. Now, pricing models can vary and fluctuate significantly with digital products. All you have to do is with a click of a button, change the product cost from $19.99 to $29.99 for the same item, depending on the time of the year and whatever pricing strategy you want to use. Now, you can do the same thing with physical products, but it's a bit more difficult because you have fixed costs that are associated with producing that good. The other advantage with digital products is that you have flexible pricing strategies where you can actually sell a subscription-based model, which is extremely popular right now. Think of Netflix, for example, or think of even your cell phone provider. They are selling you a subscription-based model where you pay monthly for the services that you receive. Again, with digital products, you have a number of different ways that you can monetize your products in order to maximize your revenue. Now, at number 7, we have shipping and handling. We've already talked about this earlier, but the cost of shipping and handling could really make or break your business depending on what industry you're in and what product you're actually selling. Obviously, you do not have this barrier to entry especially when you're selling digital products, because there's no shipping and there's zero handling connected to the product that you're actually selling. But for digital goods, you have to take that into consideration. Now, when you're selling products and goods, specifically in the US market, and everybody wants to sell in the US market because the demand for products is extremely high, you have to take that into consideration because there are 50 states in there. They're spread out geographically, and you have to take that into consideration. Now, connected to that is also the environmental footprint, which we're not going to talk about here, but when you're selling products, depending on what you're selling, you may want to take the environmental impact into consideration. Okay, so we're at number 8 here, and this is a big one. Returns and refunds. Typically for digital products is a final sale because you're downloading asset that you're buying right away. And so there's no 30-day money get back guarantee, there's no 10-day money back guarantee, because the moment you download it, the author of that product or the owner of the product doesn't have it anymore. Whereas when you're selling a physical product, you have a very long return period depending on what you purchased. In the example of the mattress that my wife and I bought a few weeks ago, we actually have a 365-day trial on the mattress, which means we're gonna sleep on it for a year, and after a year, or within 12 months really, we have to decide if we're gonna keep the mattress or not. Now, this is unheard of when it comes to mattresses, but this is just to give you an example on how different it is when you're selling a digital product versus a physical product. When you go to Costco and we go to Canadian Tire, it's the same thing. Whatever thing or item you bought, there's a grace period for you to see it, make sure that you want it, and then return it if it doesn't meet your need. Obviously, every store has their return policies and you want to be mindful of that. But the trick here is that with your receipt, you can return it. You cannot do that with digital products. Once you buy it, you own it. Number 9, customization. It's very easy to customize digital products. With digital products, you can, if it's a book, for example, you can add another chapter to it. You can change the colors or the themes that are contained in the book. If it's a software, you can add another module to it. You can enhance and customize the application in a number of ways, and you could get it to market very, very quickly. With physical products, it's a lot harder to customize them, and it takes a lot more time in order to get it to market. Think of the latest car you wanted to buy or you'd like to buy in 2024. Chances are in 2025, there are new features that are going to be added to that vehicle. Now, these features have been thought of a long time ago, but it takes about a year to 2 years to actually get it to market. And the reason for that is because you have to update the machinery that's used in order to build to build the cars. You have to update and source different components from manufacturers that are all over the world, so on and so forth. So customization with physical products costs a lot more money, takes a lot more time, and eventually when it gets to market, has a significant impact on price. With digital products, you don't have that limitation. You make that software upgrade, you add that chapter to the book, or you update that digital asset that you're selling, and then boom, you're pushing it to the market right away. Number 10, and this is a big one, intellectual property. Digital products are known for being copied by bad actors all the time. So you don't have the same intellectual property protection that you have with physical products than with digital products. Digital products, unfortunately, are known for being copied, for being emulated in a way that's really identical to the one that you have right now. There's a story here that in a country that we will not disclose, there are actual Apple stores with the symbol of the apple that are selling non-Apple products. And I'm talking about things that look like the iPhone, things that look like the MacBook Pro, and so on and so forth, but it's not an actual iPhone store. Like, it's not an Apple store. It's literally a store that has the Apple and sells products that actually looks like Mac products and Apple products. So you get the drift, right? When it comes to digital products, you can copy them very easily. It's a lot tougher with physical products. The intellectual property protection is a lot stronger with physical products, and it's a lot easier for you to go to court and say, hey, we have a patent that protects this widget in terms of how it functions, and somebody copied our patent or copied our function. Like, you have a lot more recourse when it comes to these things. Number 11, like we're halfway there almost. Number 11 is the consumer experience. The consumer experience with a digital product and a physical product is extremely different. Typically, the physical products will elicit more of an emotion and a reaction with consumers than a digital product. When you download a book, or when you download a song, or you download a checklist, or you download a YouTube video, it doesn't feel the same as you driving a new car, buying a new phone, buying a case for your phone. Like, the physicality of these interactions, it produces a certain response, and consumers are quite sensitive to that. So from a marketing perspective, you have to be mindful of that. People don't react the same way when they purchase a digital asset versus a physical asset. Number 12, cost per unit. Cost per units are significantly low with digital assets. With physical products or physical assets, the cost per unit tends to be a lot higher. Now, there are ways for you to scale your physical physical assets so that at the end costs you less money, but it's still nowhere near what digital assets are going to cost you. This video is a good example of this, right? I mean, you're listening to this video, and again, whether 1,000 people look at this or 1,000,000 people look at this video, my cost remains the exact same. Number 13, updates and improvements. Now, this is really important, and I am saying updates and improvements. When you produce a digital asset, the moment you start getting feedback from your consumer base, it's very easy for you to actually make improvements to the asset and then redistribute it. It's a lot harder when you're selling physical goods. We all remember the first Model X from Tesla that came out, right? Remember the Goldwyn doors, right? Well, some of these doors didn't really close very well, and it's a nightmare now for Elon and his team to figure out how to fix these doors and then how to update their production line in order to make sure that that issue doesn't happen again. So it's costly, it takes time, and it doesn't necessarily make your customers happy. When it comes to digital assets, however, you can do that very, very quickly, and you can mass produce it and share it with your consumer base a lot faster than with physical assets. Number 14, and this is a massive one, a global reach. Now, you already know this, but with digital assets, people from all over the world can actually purchase it. The great thing about doing that is that you can also manage your pricing based on the location of where people are actually buying it from. So if I'm selling a product here, but I'm based in Canada, I could sell it in the US for US currency, I could sell it to Paris, France in euros, and so on and so forth. And obviously these currencies are stronger than my currency, and so I can also make some money on the currency spread, which is interesting. So that global reach is something that I don't necessarily have with a physical product. If I'm producing something in my basement and then I have to ship it from my basement to my consumer, chances are I'm going to focus on my immediate market first in order to lower my production costs and my shipping costs. And then eventually when I grow older or when I start making some money, I'll be thinking of the US and international markets. And so in essence, the global reach that I have with those digital products, I have it instantly from day one, which you don't have with physical products. Number 15, maintenance and updates. Now this looks a lot like the one that we talked about in terms of improvement, but there is some significant differences in that. When we're talking about maintenance, we're talking about the things that you need to do. When we're talking about maintenance, we're talking here about the things that you need to do in order for the consumer to continue to enjoy the product that he or she has purchased. Now think of the car that you have that requires regular maintenance. You have to bring it to the garage, right? For that oil change or for the tire rotation or for that yearly maintenance and that yearly checkup. The manufacturer of that car has to take that into consideration in order to sell you that good or that product. You don't have those maintenance costs when you're thinking of a digital product. Now, I know a number of people that are actually selling software packages to their clients, and that software actually requires maintenance as well. But the whole pricing scheme behind the maintenance is a significantly lower and a completely different ballgame than when you're selling a digital product. When it comes to licensing, for example, for software that you're selling as a service, the famous SaaS models, the maintenance is typically done at windows where your consumers are not using the product, and you have a very easy channel to inform them and advise them that the system is going to be down for an hour or for 2 hours, as an example. Think of the last time your bank told you that their website was unavailable because they were doing some maintenance on their server. So it's a lot easier to schedule that maintenance for digital products than it is with physical products. Number 16, customer support needs. The customer support needs for digital products is completely different than for physical products. When you think of digital products, a lot of it you can actually outsource to a third party. Some would even use AI to try and provide some kind of customer service. But when it comes to physical products, it's a lot different because they may require access to the actual widget, the car, the iPhone, or the earbuds, whatever it is that you physically purchase. If you're going to do any type of customer support for it, you might have to bring it in, which means extra cost for the consumer and also extra cost for you as a manufacturer, because you have to get a licensed technician to look at the item and then do the proper service or maintenance that's required for it. So the customer service pyramid or the customer service approach is significantly different whether you're using a digital asset versus a physical asset. And typically the customer support costs are going to be significantly lower on the digital products that you'll be selling. Okay, number 17, marketing and promotion. You must have guessed it. When it comes to digital products, marketing and sales is primarily online. It's using all of the social media that you can think of in order to promote and to push the awareness of your product and allow people to actually use, try, and purchase the asset that you're buying. When it comes to physical products, it's a bit different. You may have a store where people need to drive or can come in order to try, touch, and feel the thing that you're selling. Now, maybe you're using an online store for your physical product. A lot of people actually do that, and that's also something that you can do, but there's still a physical component to it, because when the client receives their mattress or that physical product, they may touch it and decide that, I like it or I don't like it, and then return it. And so the way you market and you promote that item is extremely important. Now, the marketing cost can be significant whether you're doing digital products or whether you're doing physical products. It really depends on the channels that you're going to be using and the types of products that you'll be selling. Okay, number 18, trial and sampling. With digital products, it's very easy for you to have trial and samples. All you have to do is give it away for free for a few months or a few weeks and have people actually try and test drive the asset or the digital product that you're actually selling. Now, you could possibly do the same with physical products, but it's a bit more difficult, right? That physical product has to be shipped somewhere. Someone has to unpack it, receive it, and then manipulate it, and then send you the feedback for you to make those changes. So the feedback loop is a lot longer with physical product than it is with digital products. Number 19, customer feedback integration. You might have guessed it. This is a long word to say that when it comes to digital products, you can integrate your customers' feedback in almost real time. When it comes to physical products, there's a lot more work involved, because to make these changes, it's a lot more labor intensive. And so that's a main difference between digital and physical products. Number 20, resale value. Typically, digital products have almost zero resale value. When it comes to licenses, the licenses are typically not transferable. And if it's a digital product, the digital product is typically connected to an email address that you can't transfer to another email account. For physical products, however, it's a completely different ballgame. When you buy that car, you can resell it to someone else. When you buy that house, you can sell it to someone else. Any kind of physical product, once you've purchased it, you can actually sell it to somebody else. Now, theoretically, and in most instances, the value of the asset will have diminished because you used it, but in some instances, the value of the asset, depending on market conditions, can actually increase. Number 21, supply chain management. You must have guessed it, there's no supply chain or very little supply chain when it comes to digital products. But when it comes to a cell phone, when it comes to physical products, supply chain management can actually make or break your business model. Supply chain management is the integration of the different bodies or manufacturing facilities that come together in order to produce your goods. The more complex the good, the more complex the supply chain, and the more risk of failure there is in the supply chain as a whole. And so typically your supply chain, it can be extremely complex and costly with physical goods, whereas it's almost non-existent for digital goods. Okay, so we're at number 22, licensing and ownership. Typically when it comes to digital products, users will purchase a license to use, not a license to own. So think of a software, for example, that you're allowing people to use. They can use it in order to do what they're doing, but they don't actually own the asset or own the license. The supplier or the creator of the license is the one who actually owns the intellectual property for the license as a whole. Now, this is completely different when it comes to physical products, because with physical products, the moment you buy it, you're actually now the new owner of that said thing. All right, number 23, customization in real time. A lot of the digital products that are being sold out there are actually things that the users can actually customize in real time. Think of the t-shirt that you're buying from a store on Shopify. That's a print-on-demand t-shirt. You choose the color, but you can then choose the wording of what you want written there, the design, the style, and so on and so forth. The degree of customization is extremely high, and that customization is typically only offered to the nth degree in digital products. Now, with physical products, it's a lot more difficult to customize them, but you can still customize them. It tends to cost you a lot more. So if you wanted a Porsche GTS 3 in navy blue with red seats and orange accents, as an example, you could do that, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. So what people that do physical products tend to do is that they allow for some customization, but tend to increase the cost significantly for that customization. It's also a bit of a premium that they charge in order to do that, so that the individuals feel that the asset or whatever it is that they're purchasing is a bit more unique. Now, the last three are extremely important. You've got number 24, which is impulse buying. Typically, digital products fall into the category of impulse buying. Now, this is very important as a digital marketer for you to understand. And the reason for that is because whatever you're buying or whatever you're selling has a higher likelihood of being purchased very quickly by your consumer because it falls under an impulse buy. With physical products, it tends to take a bit more time in order for individuals to actually make that purchase. Now, with the arrival of Amazon, there is a bit of a blur of the line between the digital products and the physical products, because the experience you have on Amazon is almost like a digital product experience, even though you're actually getting a physical good at the end of it all. But the truth of the matter is that typically physical purchases, whether they're bought on Amazon or anything else, they do require a bit more time for you to pull the trigger and make that purchase in comparison to digital products. Number 25, returns and refunds. In most cases, you will not have a return or a refund policy for digital assets. Now, there's a big caveat here because I've been noticing that a lot of creators are really providing great return and refund policies for their digital assets. If the asset doesn't meet the client's need, they provide a full 30-day money guarantee, and in some instances, I've even seen 90 days refund policies, which is really, really good. And it also helps build the credibility of the company who's actually selling the product. But typically, you will have stronger return policies for physical products than you will with digital products. And last but not least, number 26, overhead expenses. Now, again, typically for digital products, your overhead expenses are going to be significantly lower than with a physical product. You don't have to pay for a warehouse. You don't have to pay for the electricity connected to it. You don't have to pay for the delivery. You don't have to pay for all of the ancillary costs that are related to the physical product. With that being said, you still have some costs that you have to be mindful of. The camera that you're using in order to take pictures or to record your video, the lighting that you might have, the softwares that you're using and that you're paying a monthly subscription for, so on and so forth. But even at that, the overall cost will tend to be significantly lower than for physical products. So now the question becomes, what should you start with? Should you start with a digital product or with a physical product? The truth is, the answer is, it really depends on your situation. If you don't have a lot of money to start off with and you have some time available to you, then a digital product might be the best way for you to get your foot in and get into the habit of selling to a new customer base. If you don't have a lot of time, but you do have a lot of money available to you, then selling physical goods might be a good way for you to start, because you can actually purchase inventory and then sell the products yourselves, or I don't know, even buy real estate and hold on to the asset from a real estate investment perspective. So your situation is going to dictate which is the best of the two worlds for you. There's also a very big trend right now with having something that's called a hybrid model, where you have a physical product that has digital features or digital assets. Now think of your cell phone, for example. Your cell phone is a physical product, but you have a ton of digital assets and digital products inside the phone. And so this is a hybrid. It's a combination of both the physical and the digital. My personal preference is start with digital because you can scale it very quickly, and then you could pivot into physical asset with time as you mature and as you develop your experience with selling products to a mass audience and getting feedback and making customizations to make sure that your product, your digital products, remains relevant to your customer base. If you've watched this video till the end, thank you so much for taking the time and watching this content. Please smash the like button, share this video with a friend, and I'll see you on the next one.